Okay, good evening everyone. This is Mark and I'm going to be recording a video. In fact, I'm going to be recording 4 videos on the subject of love. Now, love is something that I think intuitively we all understand on some level. So why 4 videos? Well, I've been going over the book and bringing down a lot more information about love and looking at it from an energy point of view and also from a spiritual point of view. Not just the kind of relationship aspects of love, but what love actually is, how it works. And just to give you an idea, I mean, these are my short notes on the subject. And so what I'm going to do is, rather than try and cover it all in one video, I'm going to break it down into 4 videos. So the first video, this one, we're going to look at what love is. The second video, we're going to look at how we give love to others. The third video is how we receive love, and the fourth video is also how we bring love down to ourselves. And by the time you've watched all 4 videos, you'll realise that all parts are important. Now, love is a wonderful thing, and when we say love, obviously it's going to mean different things to different people. So the purpose of this video is really to talk about love from the biggest picture point of view, from the spiritual point of view, from the energetic point of view. And then I hope that as you're watching these videos, and I do recommend you watch each one in the right order, that you'll get from it what you need wherever you are at this particular time. But love, for me, love is the most important subject. It's the cornerstone of all spiritual journeys. It's the reason for life. And so we're going to look at, starting with video number 1, what is love? Okay, so first of all, love is actually an energy. It's not just a concept, it's not an emotion, although there is an emotional part to some forms of love. Love is actually an energy, and it's a neutral energy. And being more specific, there are 2 kinds of love energy. There is unconditional love, and then there is the energy of love. Unconditional love is the highest form of love. It comes from the source, from whatever you want to call it, the source, creator, God. That love comes through all the different kind of spiritual dimensions, but it doesn't come all the way right down to where we are, although it can be brought down. But that is the purest love. It's the most potent. In fact, it's not accurate to say it's the purest, because all love is pure, but that is the strongest love. The most fundamental love is unconditional love. And that's the love that is the first thing that exists. Even before light is love and unconditional love, and it comes directly from the source, from God. Okay? Then you have love, and the energy of love is still pure, is still extremely powerful, but whereas unconditional love is found right in the highest dimensions, the highest aspects of the spiritual planes, love is found more in the middle to lower ends. But even then, it is a very rare thing, and it is a very special gift. And we'll go more into that in other videos. But for now, just to bring the idea that there is love and there is unconditional love. And to kind of compare them, if you will, love tends to have more of an emotional component, whereas unconditional love is much, in this sense, pure, in that it's not conditional. It doesn't have any emotions. It doesn't have anything added to it or imbued within it. And love at its strongest is about 80% the strength of unconditional love. But in general terms, most of the love that is expressed is about 50% on average, the strength of unconditional love. So to put it another way, unconditional love is generally twice as strong as love. Okay? And because love is neutral, it can be very transformative, it can be very healing, it can be very regenerative, and it can be very uplifting. And that applies to both unconditional and love. To understand love, you also have to understand you as a spiritual being. So we each have a spirit and a soul, and they are actually 2 different things. Now, I'm going to go over a lot of topics here. Understand that there's a lot more information, and I'm in the process of writing book number 3, book number 4 and book number 5. And in these books, in fact, the topic of love comes up. There are entire chapters in book number 3 and parts of chapters in book number 4 and book number 5 talking about love and its history with humanity and things like this. And again, there are entire chapters dedicated to spirit and to soul. So for now, just understand that you have a spirit and you have a soul. The soul is the learning part. It's the part that is not perfectly balanced. It's not perfectly pure, in the sense that it needs to learn, it needs to evolve, and therefore the soul is more the identity part of you. The spirit is pure and neutral, and it is the spirit that has the passion and the love, whereas the soul has more of the learning and the evolutionary part of you in terms of your journey. So there is a soul journey and a spiritual journey. Believe it or not, the soul cannot receive love. It is only the spirit that can interact with love. But the soul needs love. It needs love because all of the lessons that the soul exists to learn are lessons to teach it about love. So your soul craves love in its environment. It craves love in your life, and it seeks out love, and it aspires to be the qualities of love. But it is actually the spirit that is the vehicle of love within you. And in a spiritual journey, it is the desire for unconditional love and the source of it that drives the spirit back to the source. So that gives you a clue how important love is to anyone who is on a spiritual journey, not just, in fact, to everyone, because it is the reason why we exist. So you have a spirit and you have a soul. Your spirit can actually store love. Now, when your spirit was first created in your first ever life, because just like your soul, your spirit and your soul persist throughout all the lifetimes you're going to have. When your spirit was first created, it didn't have any love in it, but it had the capacity to store love. It can store love and it can store unconditional love. When unconditional love goes into your spirit, it stays there forever, throughout all of the lifetimes of that spirit. So the spirit, if you like, is collecting unconditional love through many lifetimes. Love, on the other hand, when it goes into your spirit, it stays in there for a long time, but it eventually seeps out or diffuses out into you, into your aura, into the different energy bodies that you have. And in so doing, it nourishes them, it enriches them, it lifts them up, it heals them. It does all of these amazing things, and therefore it is a great gift to have had love in your spirit. But unless you are constantly receiving love and being loved, then eventually a spirit that doesn't receive any love would eventually dwindle in terms of its levels of love, but it would maintain any unconditional love that it has in that lifetime and carry it into the next. Okay? If your level of love within your spirit gets to a high enough level, you actually become a portal for love. And without getting too technical, there are ways that love flows through the different dimensions, and if you get to a certain level of, quite a high level of the amount of love within your spirit becomes a portal. And what that means is love then pours out of you. So it's constantly pouring out of you, but you're not being drained. So the love you have in your spirit is not drained by the process. In other words, love is coming through you, not from you. That's really important. And this is very, very rare, but it's everyone's potential, which is why I bring it up. And as you go through these videos, you'll start to understand how to go about this transformation. So to become a portal of love, which means love from its source is coming through you and into the world around you and into you, and therefore you become like a radiator of love, you need to get your level of love up in your spirit. Only about 1.5% of the world's population at this time are portals of love, and in a way, I suppose the good news is anyone has that potential, and that's what we want to focus on. Okay, so it is possible. That's, to put it into perspective, in every 1,000 people, that's 15 people are radiating love, and that's bringing a lot of love into humanity. So I'd like to see more, and this is something we can all work on, and as you go through these videos you'll realise how connected we all are. Love is so important that actually, in order to finish your spiritual journey, the last step, which is letting go of limits, going past the limits of duality and attaining enlightenment, which is returning your spirit to the source, It is only possible if you have enough love in your spirit. So even if you were given the energy to do the last stage of your journey, and again I talk about this, the energy and the spiritual journey in the books, so you can go and have a look on the website and look at the books if you want to find out more about this side of things. But it is not possible to actually complete your journey unless you have enough love in your spirit. So that's how important love is. You cannot attain enlightenment without a build-up of love in your spirit. So it's quite beautiful. So spirituality and love are intrinsically entwined. So we're going to be looking in the videos at the various ways that love moves around. So love can be sent or channeled depending on the type of love to other people. Love can be brought down into you or channeled into you, again depending on the type of love. And love can be received. So there's kind of 3 different ways that love is moving around. And to understand how you as a spiritual being that is intrinsically related to love work, then it's important to understand that there are different structures and channels within you that allow for love to enter into you, to be stored within you, and to flow around you. And so in this video I'm going to go through what those are. But again, all this information, I'm just going to touch on things. There's a lot more information on the website, in the books, and the books that are to come. But on the top of your head, round about here, you have what is called the Causal Chakra. Round the back of it, you have the Crown Chakra. Now, quite often, sensations in the Causal Chakra, people sometimes think that is the Crown Chakra activity. The Causal Chakra is the chakra that is open in everyone. The Crown Chakra is opened once you have received spiritual initiation. The Causal Chakra allows love from its source to enter into every single human being. Okay, that's your potential. Now, because love comes from the source, from the Creator, from God, from unity, from the Absolute, whatever name you want to give it, if someone has, in their mind or out loud, declared themselves that, they absolutely reject the idea of God, or they reject that there is anything other than, say, the scientific world and the physical world, and they've made a statement that they actually reject the possibility that there is something more. In other words, they've kind of declared themselves, I guess, an atheist. Then, because this is the centre of love, in particular receiving love from the source, words are very, very powerful. And if someone has declared their intention that they do not believe or wish to acknowledge the existence of something higher, that Causal Chakra actually closes, because action follows thought. So even if they didn't know about the Causal Chakra, even if they didn't know about the source, if they've declared that there is no such thing as a source, as a creator, as a God, or anything like that, then that will actually cause this chakra to close down, because its purpose is to connect to those things. And if you've declared in your mind that those things don't exist, thought is very powerful, and it will bring about this change within you. So then what we're discussing isn't always going to be possible. Some aspects of it will be, but some aspects won't be. So the Causal Chakra is the doorway to love, if you like. Now, if you are initiated and your Crown Chakra is open, then the Crown Chakra can be used, and often will be, instead of the Causal Chakra. But as you'll see, it depends on the time of day. You have a heart centre, not to be confused with your heart or your heart chakra. So the heart centre is from the throat chakra down to the sacral chakra. In other words, it covers from basically just below your chin to just above your pelvis. And it's about as wide as this. And it's oval shaped, and it's inside you. And this is an etheric sac that allows love to be stored. Now, unlike the spirit, which can store love, unconditional love, indefinitely, and store love for a period of time, the heart centre cannot store unconditional love indefinitely. So unconditional love, or love that go into the heart centre, will eventually diffuse out into you, and you will be nourished by that love. But it is a big reservoir for love, and it is this reservoir that historically mankind and humanity have used to act as a reservoir for sending love. The there is an evolution of love, and we'll get onto that, but things have changed for the better, and I'm really pleased to be able to let you know about this. Then you have a heart chakra, and this is the energy funnel coming into your heart. It actually comes down to near the spinal column where the heart is, and this brings certain kinds of love into you and into proximity of your heart. And then you have your physical heart, but your physical heart actually has an awareness, a consciousness about it, and it's this consciousness that allows the physical heart to be involved in the process of loving people. So those are the main things. You've got the causal chakra, the heart center, the heart chakra, and the heart. And then obviously you've got love, the energy, and unconditional love, the energy. In terms of its history, in terms of its availability, love, although there's a potential for it to be anywhere in the cosmos, isn't found everywhere. It's not found on every planet. It's not found throughout the entirety of the different dimensions. And it's not, what I'm saying is, it's a gift. Where it is given as a gift. And it's quite a rare gift indeed. So the fact that humanity has it at all is a wonderful gift from the source, from the creator, from God. The first time that love was ever experienced on the third dimension was once Jesus and his apostles and his disciples started to preach about love and God. And as a direct result of humanity becoming aware of the idea of God in this loving way, and the idea of God's love, the God, the source, whatever you want to refer to it as, granted that love could become available to humanity. So it's only really been in the last 2,000 years that humanity has had access to love, and it is a gift from the source, from God. Some people will get confused. Is he talking about religion? So I want to make it absolutely clear. I'm talking about spirituality. Spirituality as a practice, meditation and these things, is finding out through experience. So for example, the spiritual journey is to take your spirit to the source, which is unity, which is God, which is the creator, whatever name or label you want to give it. And the spiritual journey starts with the revelation of light. And as I've said earlier, love is an intrinsic part. So the beautiful thing about a spiritual journey is that it doesn't rely on belief, and the truth that is revealed cannot be challenged. Because when I sit down in my meditation and I become still enough and I access the spiritual light and I hear the spiritual sound and I go past even that and I sit in the absolute stillness, that can't be taken away from me. Whether or not I can articulate it enough to convince another person is completely irrelevant. That is belief. But what I know to be true from my own experience is truth that cannot be taken away. And that is the joy, and that is the purpose of a spiritual journey. So when I talk about God, it's not a religious reference, it's a spiritual reference. And when I talk about Jesus, it's not a religious reference, it's a spiritual reference. He was a spiritual teacher. He wasn't saying go to church. He was saying look inside, find the truth, connect to God. Okay? So the history of love is that it hasn't always been available. But it is a gift from God, from the source. And once humanity became aware of God and love, then love was granted. And so that's a wonderful gift. And over time, things have evolved. And in quite recent times, there's been a big shift because there's been a lot more light. And light and love kind of go hand in hand. They're almost two sides of the same coin. Again, in the book, we talk about this a lot more, but first things that ever came into manifestation were unconditional love, and closely followed by light. Okay? So, light and love are different things but run in parallel, and they're both important if you want to go on a spiritual journey. So, it's just worth having in the back of your mind that love is a gift, and that our relationship to it as human beings is quite a special thing indeed. The last thing I want to talk about in terms of love is connectedness. if you've really paid attention, I was talking about your spirit can store love that it receives. You can't bring love into yourself and put it in your own spirit. You can't channel love to yourself, you can't send love to yourself, you can't give love to yourself. You can bring love into your heart center, you can bring love into your heart, but your spirit, which needs love and needs unconditional love in order to guide you towards your spiritual journey and to fulfill its purpose, only ever has love in it that was given to you by others, by other people. And so we are all connected because the ability of those other people to love is based purely on how much they have received love. So if they've never been loved by anyone, then they cannot send love easily to anyone else. And if they cannot send it to anyone else, then those other people will not have love in their spirit. And so we're all connected, and what this teaches us is that this is a gift, and the gift is to be able to give it. The receiving of it is almost, because the more we give it, the more love there is in the environment, the more chance there is that we get it back. But we can never give love for the purpose of getting it. That puts a condition on love. So you're not meant to love someone to be loved back. Okay? You love someone because it is a beautiful thing to do, to help another person, to love them. And the wisest amongst humanity understand that if we want to go on this journey of love, it is not a personal journey. It is a group journey. It's not a race to see who gets to the line first. Earlier I talked about 1.5% of the world's population at the moment are portals for love. They're not in the lead. What they're doing is helping all of humanity. And the wise people, the kind people, are the ones that realise that, hey, if there is this journey, then our job is to help everyone on the journey, because that helps everyone, including ourselves. But if we try and strive ahead on this journey of love, and in some kind of competitive way, we're missing the point, because the love within you, within your spirit, where it really, really matters, is only ever the love you are given, and that's always going to be a reflection on how much love you give. Okay, so that's a really nice point to kind of draw a line. So this is video number 1. I'm really just setting the scene. So in the next video, just checking my notes, we're going to be talking about the different ways that you can send love to others, and there's actually 3 different ways that you send love to others. Love and unconditional love. And then in video number 3, we're going to talk about receiving love, and again there's different ways that happens. And number 4 is about how you can bring love into yourself, and that's really, really important, because the more you do that, A, you just feel really, really good and you're really supporting yourself, but B, it allows you to be more loving towards others, so it completes the circle. Okay, so with that, this is the end of video number 1, and I wish you lots of love. Thank you.